Have you ever noticed how one person can walk into a room, say a few words, and just command respect? And then someone else, maybe with an even better idea, says almost the same thing and gets completely ignored. It's not about being louder or more aggressive. This isn't about simple speaking tips. We're going to decode the hidden physics of why we listen to some people and tune out others.
All right, let's get right into it. The first thing you have to understand is that respect isn't something you earn slowly with great arguments. It's actually a status that's assigned to you by your listeners almost instantly. And this happens subconsciously, not based on your logic, but on the signals that you're sending out before they've even really processed your words.
And this is the absolute core of it all. Your data, your brilliant insights, your years of expertise, all of that gets filtered through the nonverbal signals carrying your message. If those signals project low authority, your entire message gets devalued before anyone even has a chance to think about it.
So, if respect is all about these signals, what are they? Well, it turns out it's not random. There's a very clear pattern. Whether you're in a boardroom, a sales pitch, or even a casual conversation, people are subconsciously scanning for 3 core signals to decide who gets the authority in the room. Let's break them down.
The first signal is your pace. Think about it. When someone speaks really fast, it triggers something in our brain that feels like anxiety or low status. It's like they don't believe they deserve to take up time. But a slow, deliberate pace, that signals control. It says, I'm not in a hurry because I don't have to be. And the listener's brain reads that absence of hurry as pure authority.
Second signal is certainty. You see, our brains are wired to prefer the path of least resistance. We trust what feels simple and clear. So when you use tentative words like I think or maybe, you're literally forcing the listener to process your doubt, which kills your credibility. But decisive language, that transfers your own conviction directly to them. It makes your ideas feel solved long before they've been picked apart.
And the third signal is stillness. All that extra movement, fidgeting with a pen, shifting your weight, tapping your foot, it broadcasts a lack of composure and just scatters everyone's attention. But stillness, both in your body and your voice, is an incredible amplifier. When you pause intentionally, you create this vacuum. It forces everyone to lean in and focus. It builds tension. It makes whatever you say next feel important.
So these 3 signals, pace, certainty, and stillness, they're not just passive habits. No, they are the actual tools people use, consciously or not, to control the invisible dynamics of any interaction. Let's look at how this game is really played. It really breaks down into 2 sides. On the one hand, you have the signals that give away control, rushing your words, sounding unsure, all that excess motion. These things practically invite people to interrupt you or just dismiss what you're saying. And on the other side, you have the signals that take control, a measured pace, decisive language, and a calm composure. These signals command attention and completely dictate who feels the pressure in the conversation.
So what actually happens when a brilliant person delivers their ideas with these low authority signals? Well, you get what we call the authority gap. And this is the very real, tangible cost of not understanding the game that's being played around you.
This chart shows you exactly what I mean. Look at the person on the left. They have great content, great ideas, but their signals are weak. Their perceived credibility is incredibly low. Their ideas get dismissed. Now look at the person on the right. Same great content, but delivered with high authority signals. The credibility is through the roof. That gap between them, that's where careers stall. That's where influence dies.
And the consequences of that gap are huge. It's the expert with the critical data who gets ignored. It's the founder whose vision never quite lands. It's the leader whose team just doesn't feel their conviction. So let's be clear. Conversations don't fail because of a lack of information. They fail because people don't see the underlying power dynamics being signaled back and forth.
So how do you close this gap? Well, the real edge isn't about memorizing a list of tips. It's a much deeper mindset shift. It's about learning to think about communication the way the most elite communicators do.
See, the best communicators don't just talk. They're constantly calibrating. They're asking themselves, in real time, is my pace right now signaling control or is it broadcasting anxiety? They use their cadence as a tool to manage the emotional temperature of the entire room.
And they are absolutely obsessed with their word choice. They know every single word either builds their position or tears it down. They're constantly thinking, is my language transferring certainty right now, or am I accidentally making them feel my own doubt? They understand that gaining trust right at the beginning has more to do with confident delivery than it does with perfect content. And finally, they treat silence as a weapon, not an awkward gap. They're always asking, is this just an empty pause, or am I using this silence to build pressure?
Am I using it to force focus? Am I using it to make my next words land with maximum impact? For them, stillness is a choice. It's an instrument.
Look, the goal here is not to give you a checklist. It's to give you a completely new lens to analyze your own communication. So to close this out, I'm going to leave you with 3 questions to force you to start that re-examination.
First, I want you to ask yourself this, and be honest. Forget for a second what you're saying, and think only about how you're saying it. Does your pace, your certainty, your physical composure, does it all match the weight of your message? Are you actually speaking like someone who expects to be listened to?
Second, let's get specific. Think back to your last important meeting or conversation. Can you pinpoint one word you used, one "I think" or "kinda" or "sort of" that subtly shrinks your authority? Just one. What's the single word you could get rid of right now to sound more convicted?
And finally, think about the power of doing less. The next time you have a truly crucial point to make, what if you didn't rush through it? What if right before you said it, you just stopped, held the silence for a beat longer than felt comfortable, and let that tension build before you deliver the words? Could that one single pause be the thing that makes your idea completely unforgettable?